Hello YouTube, Dave here, and I am super excited because I've just been given a very special treat. A good friend of mine asked me to do some digital inks on pencils that he commissioned from none other than Zach from ZHC. I will leave a link to his channel in the description. If you haven't seen Zach's work, I highly recommend paying him a visit because you will not be disappointed, I promise. I like to think of myself as a modern traditionalist when it comes to digital inking. What I mean by this is that I use modern digital media, but in a traditional way. I see a lot of artists using vectors to create perfectly smooth lines for their work, and there's nothing wrong with this. My mentor told me that there is no wrong way to create art. I even use this technique myself sometimes. However, in most cases, I like to have a more organic look to my work. So I have an inking brush that I can change the line weight simply by using more or less pressure with the stylus. I feel like this gives a more pen-on-paper look to the work, and it's more suitable for my style. Zach's pencils are so good. I want to stay as loyal as I can to his lines, but the job of an inker is more than just tracing pencils. As an inker, my goal is to add another level of depth and dimension to the art while showcasing the quality of the pencils underneath. This character is wearing shiny metallic armor with quite a few parts that glow, so there's going to be a lot of reflections in the metal. When working with ink, both traditional and digital, you only have two shades to work with, complete black and complete white, or whatever color your canvas happens to be. Any mid-tones are depicted with tiny small lines called hatching or cross-hatching. You also need to consider the materials the object is made of. For example, chainmail will reflect light differently than plate mail armor. For some areas that are predominantly black, I just fill in the area with a paint bucket tool and use the eraser tool for fine details. In the tool settings, you can set the eraser to be pressure sensitive just like any other brush in Clip Studio. This character's cape produces its own light. It has a faint glow, so it is in fact a light source. The little trails you see here are Zach's representation of that light. I am ignoring those trails at the moment as instructed by the client because this effect will be added in later as a special effect. And in case you're wondering, the text here on the belt is in Hebrew, and that is the word truth. There is also an inscription on the blade of the sword that you'll see later, and it is the word vengeance. This character does have some religious background, which is why he's covered in Hebrew text and crosses. The lower body is constructed of many of the same materials as the upper part. You have the lighter colored outer armor over top of darker colored chainmail, and there's also some reds and gold in there as well. The lower part of the boots are made as the same material as the cape, so they will have their own glow as well. Zach put a lot of cross-hatching on this tunic piece right here, which looks great. However, I feel that the fabric should have more of a silky texture, so I just went with that idea and decided to give it a more of a smooth and shiny look. One advantage I have with this particular piece is that I am quite familiar with this character, given that its creator is a close friend, as I mentioned before. I have access to other drawings and reference material for some of the finer details, like the hilt of the sword, for example. I also know quite a bit of lore about the character that I'm not allowed to reveal just yet. And here we see more of Zach's light trails going around the blade of the sword. The sword also has some glowing pieces of its own, including the Hebrew text there, which says vengeance, like I mentioned earlier. I think the wings on this helmet give the character a really nice look. And here we are. I can only hope that I've done Zach's work justice. As an added bonus, here is my colored version of the character. Although this may not be the final version of the piece, that will be completely up to the client. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for update notifications. Be sure to check out my webcomic, Daxon the Grondax Legacy, on Webtoons and Patreon. There will be links in the description. Also, if you have a favorite character you'd like to see me draw, feel free to leave a suggestion in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.